Chapter 7. By now I'm feeling a little better that some 5-year-old isn't trying to kill me. Later, Junior lets me know that bullets are meatballs and gravy and are usually served on New Year's Day when families visit each other going house to house, saying Le Bon Année, Happy New Year. Grandma is busy back tending to the ham as Grandpa comes in, sharpening his carving knives. I can hear her tell him to carve it thin, and he answers something that makes Grandma let out a sigh and shake her head. My grandpa makes his way over to me. Apple, Grandpa tips down to softly say, What's the matter? You don't look so good. Do these people remember nothing? I think I mentioned something about a jar of dirt being pushed through the window. What kind of gift is dirt? I mean, really, who is trying to make a statement like, you're a dirtbag, or is it more like, you're filthy like dirt? My grandpa smiles to himself and lets me know that I just need to keep this thought for now and worry about making sense of it later. After my little tirades, like I just had, I'm so used to my dad and Judy rolling their eyes and shooing me off to my room to calm down. But my grandpa doesn't make a big deal out of it. And none of the people in the house, trailer, even take notice when I just had diarrhea of the mouth. Since Grandpa isn't giving me any answers, I change the subject and try to learn more about this little Inez. So, Grandpa, if that girl is little Inez, which one of these people is big Inez? Which relative here is her mom? Junior looks at Grandpa with a solemn gaze and peers around to see if anyone is listening. He beckons me with his enormous, sausage-sized finger to come closer. Junior leans to me and in a low tone says, Well, see, little Inez's mom had some problems with drugs. 2 years ago, she ran off with some guy she met at the casino. We haven't heard from her since. Every now and then, little Inez gets an envelope in the mail with a few dollars in it. We're guessing it's from Big Inez. My chest feels like someone threw a lead football into my heart. That poor little girl. I never knew my mom, but this little one had her mother leave her on purpose. Could her mom be dead? Should they have started an investigation? Well, how do you know her mom isn't dead somewhere? Grandfather replies matter-of-factly, Well, that's why everyone here in the Turtle Mountains, reads obituaries. From coast to coast, we have relatives who keep an eye out for Big Inez in their newspapers. It's a sad way to look for the dead, but those on drugs, their families are dead. It's up to the rest of us in Indian country to look out for the orphans. Apple, we may not have fancy houses here or expensive cars, but the one treasure we do have is family. A big, extended, crazy family. Little Nezzy, that's what we call her, lives with her older sister, Tara, now. I understand, Grandpa, but I heard Grandma earlier tell Inez to find Grandpa, you. But if she's not my cousin, how can you be her grandpa? Grandpa looks at me and smiles. Little Nezzy wanted a grandpa and grandma, so she started calling us that. Your grandma, and I answered. See, Apple, in Indian culture, grandparents and elders are highly respected. It's a great honor to have lived this long and to have learned many life lessons, most of them hard ones. In Indian country, in the Indian way, family is necessary for survival. Many of your relatives that came here have mixed and blurred the line of what outsiders may understand. See those two men by the back door? They're cousins. They may be fourth or second cousins. It may be a loose definition of a cousin, but it doesn't matter to them. And Junior here calls just about everyone on this reservation auntie or uncle. Even I don't really know the exact family lines of everyone in this house today. Yet it makes it almost better because we're all in the inner circle of close family. Last year, Nezzy started calling us Musham and Kukum, Grandpa and Grandma, in the Michif language, and so now she's our granddaughter too. Just as I was asking this, my grandmother walks into the kitchen, carrying empty dishes and stacking them in the sink. Man, can these people eat? She must have overheard and understood our conversation. Let's see. Apple, you are Junior's cousin. No, wait. Technically, that's my cousin's child, so it would make you his third cousin. And Big Inez was my second cousin, twice removed, so, Let's try this from Musham's side, Xavier's side. Now, he was Big Inez's auntie's cousin by marriage, so Apple, that makes you and little Nezzy. Grandma starts counting on her fingers, staring out at everyone. I try to make some sense of this lineage. Okay, so I get that Junior is some type of cousin, and Big Inez was some sort of cousin removed. Just then, little Inez glides into the kitchen, wiping her mouth. She stops when she sees me and gives me a smile. I continue asking how little Inez and I are related. So, Grandma, you would be Inez's cousin, and that makes Junior another one of little Inez's cousins. I contemplate the connection as I point between little Inez and myself. So what does that make me? Lucky, little Nezzy says, without losing a beat. She brings the house down. Later that evening, after most people left, yes, it took a while, I could feel exhaustion set in. A few people were helping clean up in the kitchen with Grandma, and she tells me not to worry about helping, to just go to bed. I need to do something to help clean up, to show my appreciation. That little lecture that my dad is always yelling, ever so politely, keeps popping in my head. It's the lecture about how you're supposed to show people your thanks by doing something nice in return. Apparently, I didn't understand him completely when he first told me this. Judy was making a new recipe for chocolate pudding. She was trying to use up a box of some old ingredients. First clue something was amiss. And didn't check the expiration date. Bear loves anything chocolate, so he was the first one to dig in. Since it smelled pretty good, I grabbed a spoon and dug in too. I looked at my almost finished bowl, and the pudding was moving. Maggots. They're not just for breakfast anymore. Move! I yelled as I reached for the garbage can and yacked into it. I threw up, making sure not to get any of my puke on the floor. One nice thing deserves another. Dad's right. Paying back is a good quality to live by. I never noticed it before, but our family seems to have a lot of vomit stories. I guess some families have game night. We heave together. The family that throws up together grows up together, or something like that. Back to doing something to show my appreciation for my party. I grab 2 full garbage bags from the pile next to the sink and head out to the garbage cans I saw out back. Walking through the thinning crowd of relatives, I nod to this one and say goodnight to another one. Most of the older people here pat my arm or touch my hand, and always add, "my girl," when they're talking to me. But they also say it to little Nezzy, too. Not quite sure what that's all about. Just as I get to the garbage cans out back, I try to walk around a man. He's lighting a cigarette and doesn't seem to get the idea that maybe he could move out of my way so I can get rid of these bags that are starting to rip and are sending melting ice cream down my arms. This guy standing in front of me reminds me of pictures of the Marlboro Man, tall, tan, and wearing cowboy boots and a hat. So you're Apple. I knew your ma. She was a real beauty. Oh, well, thanks, I guess, I say, shocked that this man could be old enough to have known my mother. He is tall, over 6'5", with short, spiky black hair. Looking at his sculpted face with high cheekbones and dark pools for eyes, I blush a bit. Then he speaks again. "But you don't look nothing like her," he says, glancing at me from head to toe. "And who are you?" I've met so many relatives today, I just can't seem to keep all the names straight, I say apologetically. He squints as he looks at me, and then his eyes look over my shoulder to the trailer as he says, "I'm Carl. I lived next to your ma growing up. Saw you talking to that little Inez girl earlier." Laughing, I reply, "Yeah, that little girl sure is something." "Oh, she's something, all right. Her ma ran out on her. Left with some white guy. Best you stay away from that girl. Nothing but trouble comes from mixing with LeBlancs, from whites," Carl says as he blows smoke in my face and takes 2 steps toward me, never taking his eyes off me. Pretty sure this Carl fellow isn't aware of the secondhand smoke studies. Not quite sure what to say, I try walking around him in an attempt to put the garbage away. Stepping in front of me, he gets down in my face. "Your ma and I spent some time together, but then she left for college and got too good for us. Heard she married a rich white guy and had you. White guys think they can swoop in and take the best of our Indian women." Carl stops to take a drag of his cigarette. He's not looking at me so much as he's looking through me. Stepping so close to me that I could see the pupils of his stormy eyes, he whispers, "And what kind of name is Apple?" "Why, do you know what kind of Indians we call Apple?" Carl was cut short from finishing. "Hey, Carl!" Junior yells, walking and waving manically as he bounds down the deck steps at full speed. You got to early shift tomorrow at work, man. Best you be getting home. I'll give you a ride. Carl is surprised at how quickly Junior is beside him and is visibly shaken. Oh, no thanks. I can stay and catch a ride with my uncle. No problem at all. I'm going right by your house. Junior officially ends the discussion while he grabs the garbage and slams them into the cans. Carl jumps from the clamor, both men staring at the other. Junior continues to rescue me. Apple, you had a tiring day. Go on in and I'll finish up out here, he booms while looking at Carl. It seems like a good time to get back inside, so I hand Junior the garbage. There's something about that Carl, an anger floating barely under the surface, just simmering. Being in the middle is usually an annoyance, but this time, being in the middle of these two men, I'm anxious more than I have ever been to get out of here. And get out of here fast, which is exactly what I did. This wouldn't be the last time, only I didn't know it yet, that Junior would come to my rescue.